floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. So my presentation is how real is business impact analysis, which is main part of business continuity plan. To introduce myself, I'm Armend Salihu, CISA, C-Risk, MCC, MC, SE, and COBE certified. Also working as IT auditor at an LB bank here in Pristina. My presentation is different from others since it's not technical presentation, but more philosophical presentation. So what is business impact analysis? Business impact analysis is a process that identifies and evaluates the potential impact of an interruption to critical business processes and business functions. What is the purpose of business impact analysis? The main purposes are to provide a framework for developing a comprehensive plan for responding to those events. Also, to assess potential impact of disruption, both internal and external impacts that institution may have. Many organizations today claim that they have a comprehensive business impact analysis, which is part of business continuity plan, as part of their disaster recovery or business continuity management process. However, the question is, how real is business impact analysis? And does it actually deliver the desired outcomes? To answer this question, initially we have to consider the factors that contribute to the effectiveness of business impact analysis. Firstly, business impact analysis must be conducted with a clear understanding of the organizational critical business function and processes. Also, that has to be involved the main stakeholders of the organization, like business leaders, process owners or business leaders, department lead heads, and subject matter experts have to be included. Since without this involvement, business impact analysis may miss critical elements and lead into ineffective planning. Secondly, business impact analysis must be conducted using rigorous and well-defined methodologies, as well as well-known standards in order to be comprehensive and cover all the potential impact and are identified and evaluated. This requires a comprehensive risk assessment. Without risk assessment, we cannot do anything. That considers both internal and external threats, such as cyber attacks and natural disaster, as well as supply chain disruptions. Business impact analysis must be an ongoing process, not a one-time process. It's a living document. We have to update on every change, every process. The changes within the institution, we have to update our business impact analysis, which reflects in a business continuity management plan. This change includes critical business function processes, as well as changes in internal, external threats and risk factors that have been identified. So how real is business impact analysis? In my opinion, which is based on several researchers' read, business impact analysis can be a highly effective tool for organization when conducted correctly. It requires a significant investment of time and resources and must be viewed as an ongoing process rather than one-time process. However, we have not yet fully answered the question of this presentation. What are the factors that we have to consider while preparing business impact analysis? The key factors are criticality of business processes, recovery time objectives, resource requirements, interdependencies, risk assessment, communication and coordination, as well as testing and validation. Also, there are several other factors less relevant than those. However, in this presentation, we will be focused on recovery time objectives and in testing and validation. Prior to that, we will mention several well-known standards that are applied on business continuity management, as well as in business impact analysis. The first one is ISO 22301, which is business continuity management system, and covers also business impact analysis in this standard. Another standard is British standard number 25999. Another standard is NFPA 1600, which is a standard developed by National Fire Protection Association in the United States. Also ASIS SPSC 1/2009 standard developed by American Society for Industrial Security. Another standard which is developed by the United Arab Emirates is NCEMA 7000. Also, Business Continuity Institute Good Practice Guidelines, which is best practice to be implemented during preparation of business continuity management as well as business impact analysis performed. These standards provide business with a set of guidelines to help them develop and implement effective business continuity plans, ensuring that they are prepared for potential disruption and able to continue operations during and after such events. Even though the above-mentioned standards are very comprehensive, do they address all the factors? Human psychological concept is not foreseen in all of the standards, including others not mentioned here. So we have to consider this. Related to the recovery time objectives, RTOs, we will discuss two following cases, which were performed by a friend of mine who is performing PhD in psychology. Especially in the IT industry, in banking sector in Asia and Africa. He encountered several cases, but we'll mention two interesting cases that we saw during our interview with the process owner. A case in Malaysia, where bank had a cyber attack, and the all main data center went down, so they had to operate from the secondary data center. However, the key responsible staff for business continuity management received an unknown call that his family was kidnapped. So he was unable to perform all the necessary steps to recover on time. So he missed the recovery time objectives and delayed, as I remember, 3 times more than it was foreseen in the internal acts related to business continuity management. Another case that we encountered during our interview we had in Japan. A bank in Japan located its main data center in -1 floor. Honestly speaking, it was the board's decision to put on the -1 floor the main data center. And even worse, the electricity supply was on the floor. So they had water flooded on that, and a key staff of IT were locked inside. He couldn't escape from that place. Even though the IT guy was not part of the business continuity management, they were unable to activate business continuity plan and disaster recovery center from the secondary data center, since they were very engaged to help the IT guy to leave that space. Related to testing and validation, we will provide the case of flight 1549. Have you watched Salihu, The Miracle on the Hudson movie? I strongly recommend to watch this movie. It's based on the U.S. Airways flight 1549, emergency landing in January 2009 by Captain Salmenberg. The captain was advised to land on the LaGuardia in the airport when he departed, or in Totterboro, another near airport. Where did he land the Airbus A320? In Hudson River. And why I'm mentioning this movie, which is based on a real case, is that after the incident, the company sued the captain that he could have safely landed in both LaGuardia or Totterboro airports, and they performed several testing. As I remember, 37 testing that the captain could have landed safely in both airports. However, on the last seance of the judgment, he requested to add also psychological human factor on testing environment. After adding that, he couldn't land in Totterboro nor in LaGuardia. So he won the case and started working also on the same company he was working. Recently, in my institution where I work, we performed disaster recovery plan, and we worked several days from our secondary data center. Several days, total switchover of the main data center. Results were more than perfect. The delay was foreseen about 4 hours, and the activation was in less than 10 minutes. Very perfect. However, we have to add that we prepared 2 weeks earlier for that. So, if we have a case unexpected, would we be able to activate? I don't think so. Not our company that I work, but majority of mid-range companies would be unable to activate the secondary data center on time if it's not considered human psychological concept. So in conclusion, while business impact analysis may not be a silver bullet for addressing all risks for an organization, it can be a valuable tool for identifying, evaluating potential impacts and developing effective response plans. By conducting business impact analysis regularly and involving stakeholders, the organization can increase their preparedness and resilience in the face of unexpected events. Also, including human psychological concept, which is a recommendation of my friend who is performing PhD in psychology, and the research will be published soon, I think. While conducting business impact analysis, especially in determining business impact analysis and determining recovery time objectives, and for the testing purpose, it's a key and may increase the effectiveness of business continuity management as well as business impact analysis, which is part of business continuity management. Thank you for your attention.
Armend, thank you so much. Does anybody have any question? I personally know that you made it seem quite easy, but in practice it works completely different. It's much more like a lengthy process, as Armend described. It involves a lot of parties, and that process of identifying, assessing, and prioritizing all these potential threats among different departments, it doesn't go that smooth, Each department think that they have their own priorities and they want to bump the priority level. So in case of a crisis, their services or systems are addressed first. So that's why we have Armend and other people who likely can walk us through and help us with those type of situations. Thanks, Armend. Do we have any question? Yes.
Armend, thank you for presentation. Maybe you can share with us, if it is not confidential from your bank, because data storage, having second redundancy of your servers, etc. One side takes some money, cost, etc., but when necessary, it's very important. How often do you make secure backups, and how often you make roll-ups just to check that your secure storages are okay and intact?
The backup in data center goes on real-time replication. However, we perform another backup on tapes, which is daily and sent to another location which is different from our main data center.
What's the length of time that you keep the tape? So now, or I don't know, the last 7 years, the last 10 years, what's the time that you usually keep the tapes?
As I have seen from my audits on the IT department, they had tapes, as I remember, from 2013. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know exactly, but probably I've seen the latest 2013. I don't know if they have earlier versions of backups.
And another thing, I was always curious, how much time does retrieving data from tapes take you? So let's say you had a ransomware, everything is wiped, even the backup, the real-time backup, and you have to retrieve everything from the tapes. Is it I don't know, a lengthy process to retrieve everything from the tapes, or is it done, very
Yeah, since we have a lot of data, a huge database in our institution, on last performed task of recovering from tapes, especially on the case, simulated case that we had a ransomware attack, it took about 2 days to fully recover from the tapes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess the backup strategy, it's like a science on its own. I know that not only like backups that we do, as Armend knows, like as scheduled, but we also have like real-time replication. Then you want to make sure that you have like even the backup for media. For example, for companies that I used to work before, we didn't only have like VPNs. We also had like a fiber cable going from HQ to DRC. And then maybe just to add to what Armend said, regarding the data backup, like how fast, usually if you want it to be restored fast, it takes a long time to back up. So it's like always you're going to either make that extra mile while you're backing up, or if you want to do it fast, you're going to do the same like path when you're restoring it. Any other question? Yes, Gina.
First of all, thank you very much for your presentation. I wanted to ask you maybe from your point of experience. You've been an auditor, and there's some correlation between the recovery in time and recovery point. So RTO and RPO.
RPO, yeah.
Yes. On your experience up until now, what do you think should be, let's say, the time difference between the two? Or it depends on the industry?
It depends. It's not written standard to have that difference. But we have to have in mind that RPO have to be always shorter than RTO. So we have a point object where we have to go, and we have the time how to go, how much it takes to go to that object. So during my experience, I have seen that we had cases that the institution planned to have RPOs longer than RTOs, which is contrary. We have to have shorter RPOs, longer RTOs. But I don't remember if there is a standard that defines this difference in time between those two objects.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have more questions for Armend? Okay, Armend, thanks so much. That was very insightful.
You're welcome.